Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Overload the Middle. I cannot believe we're back at a transfer window again. It feels like just yesterday when we were in the summer talking about what striker teams were gonna purchase, especially in the Premier League and especially Arsenal. At the time, we were talking about Sesko, we were talking about Gyökeres, we were talking about Osimhen, we were talking about a number of different options that we could use up front. Unfortunately, Arsenal didn't pull the trigger and ended up only buying a midfielder, Marino, and a left back, which is Calafiori. And it feels like we've gone full circle and we're back at the summer again, talking basically about the same thing. When are Arsenal going to buy a proven goal scorer? Now, as you know, or as you may know, Gyökeres and Sesko have been heavily linked with a move to Arsenal this summer. And what I wanted to do is just kind of do a little deep dive, looking at both, seeing which one in my personal opinion, would be the better striker for Arsenal. And I'm leaning heavily on FC25 to do this. I've played with both players in a player career mode, and I just want to give you some of my insights and things that maybe may or may not have been mentioned before. So as I said, I played with Gyökeres. For me, I feel like he's the closest player to some of the great players in world football. And I know people might hear this and think he's only playing in the Portuguese league, but let me tell you, yeah. Some of the games I played against Chelsea. I played with him in Sweden against England. I played with him against some big teams, not just in Portugal. And when I say this guy is the real deal, this guy is the real deal. If you've watched any of my recent videos, you've seen I've done a lot of player career modes, players like Ronaldinho, players like Samuel Eto'o, players like Fernando Torres. And for me, he's up there with them. Now, people might be hearing this and thinking I'm gassing, but I'm being deadly serious. One of the things, there's a couple of qualities for me that really stand out when we're talking about world-class strikers. Number one is their pace, the ability to be able to pass players at speed. And Gyökeres has pace in abundance. As you can see, he's got a 90 pace. Let's have a quick look at his acceleration. And he's got an 88 acceleration. That is crazy. Similar to, players like Eto'o and Henry, they rely heavily on their pace to beat their man and to create space. And for me, when it comes to looking at players who are of that level, pace is incredibly important. Another area is power. And again, players like Henry, players like Eto'o, they had power in abundance. They were able to physically outmuscle their opponent, their defender, be able to create space. And as you can see from his physical, he's at 91, guys. For me, this is like getting Gyökeres, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. And I know that I haven't touched on Sesko yet, and I will do. But when you look at the two main attributes of a great player, pace and power, and he has that in abundance. His dribbling, although he looks like he's 81, which is good. It's not like amazing, but it's good. But as I can say, playing with Gyökeres in player career mode, I can say you're able to beat a man very easily. The dribbling might look like 81, but when you experience playing with him, it feels more like an 87 or 88 when it comes to dribbling. Very easy to dribble past players with him. Um, let's move on. Oh yes, power shots. This guy, for me, he's the closest player to Lucas Podolski when it comes to powering shots. Remember Podolski? Anyone who is old enough to remember, this guy could, drill goals in from distance, and this guy has a power shot, crazy power shot. Um, let's have a look. What else did I? Weak foot, which for me is another important attribute. You can't be 140 and be world class. I said You cannot be one-footed and be world class. Being ambidextrous, being two-footed is extremely important, and he's a 4 out of 5. Left foot, right foot, it don't matter. So for me, those were some of the main. Is there anything I've missed? Those were some of the main attributes. Let's have a look. Yeah, those were some of the main attributes that came to mind. As I said, playing with Gyökeres, very, very. It felt like I was playing with Eto'o or Henry. Very still similar attributes. Now, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna move on to Sesko. Okay, so looking at Sesko, we can see, that he's for his age at 21, you can see that he's heading towards the top. When he gets to 25, 26, these stats will be, a lot higher, and he's going to be in a world-class conversation. However, he's not there yet. Looking at his, pace, shooting, very good, very decent, 85 for pace and an 84 for shooting. Playing with him, I'm just telling you from kind of my experience, it feels like you're playing with Kai Havertz. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. He's a much better player than Kai Havertz. Shooting wise, even though he's dribbling only 78, I found him very easy to dribble with. He's two-footed, as very, very important. But let's have a look at his agility. I'm gonna have a quick. Yeah, his agility is 75, and you can feel it. That's when it comes to being able to dribble past players. Sometimes it comes off, and sometimes it don't, because he hasn't got that natural agility, especially for his height as well. He hasn't got that low center of gravity. His height, how tall is he? He is 6'5", so he hasn't got that low center of gravity to be able to dribble past players like Ronaldinho, even Eto'o or Henry, and you can feel it. That feels like a limitation. He's got a great shot on him at 80, but compared to Gyökeres, even though there's not a lot in it in terms of shooting, Gyökeres feels more of a polished finisher. When you're taking shots with Sesko, if you have to you have to put more effort in, especially when it comes to curling shots. Very good at if you're taking straight shots into the corner, very good. But when you're trying to curl shots, he got me frustrated, because I'm like, I know if I was playing with Gyökeres, that's going into the back of the net. When I'm playing now with Sesko, it's just not. I'm just not getting that curl. And at one point I thought, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Then I'll flip back to Gyökeres, same type of positions of play, same types of patterns of play, and it was easy peasy in terms of curling shots in or rifling shots in. Sesko, he's not there. But as I said, he's only 21. When he gets to 25, he's going to be frightening. He's going to be scary for whatever team he plays, whatever league he plays in. He is going to be scary for that league. So for me, looking at Sesko, the thing that I think I was most impressed with Sesko is he has exceptional speed for how tall he is. When you're looking at a player at 6'5", you're not expecting him to be pacey, but Sesko has good pace, and he has, as I said, he's got the ability to dribble past players, but not at the level of ease as you would Gyökeres at this moment in time. But again, he's definitely going to be a top player in 2 to 3 years' time. Absolutely. Personally speaking, and even in real life, people are talking about the fact that he is a project player. He's a player that is, you're gonna have to invest 2 to 3 years to really get him to a world-class level, where Gyökeres is ready-made and ready to go right now. And in my opinion, Gyökeres is the player that Arsenal should be signing, hands down. And not being funny, I'm glad Andre Berta has come in, and I'm glad that he's putting his foot down when it comes to Gyökeres, because had we not signed Berta as director of football, we'd be definitely getting Sesko this summer. And I feel, it's just my personal opinion. Arteta is a great manager. In terms of the players that he's brought in, have been great. However, he has yet to prove that he can purchase very good, high quality frontmen. If you look at the team, the only area of the team that hasn't been touched has been the front three. Yes, you can say, well, Havertz is now a striker, but Arteta didn't buy him as a striker; he brought him as a left eight, right? And funny enough, Marino was brought in as a left eight, and now he's playing striker as well. Saka and Martinelli were there before he came, so he hasn't really touched that front three area, and that's the area that we've been suffering with for many seasons now. Oh, actually, no. Let me tell a lie. He did bring in Gabriel Jesus. Let me not try and change history. And to be fair, for the first 3 months of that season before the World Cup, Gabriel Jesus was phenomenal. And unfortunately, injury just basically took its toll. He's on his second ACL, and yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. But Gabriel Jesus will never be that same player he was in those first 3 months of the Premier League season before the World Cup. So he has brought in a striker. So let me correct that. He has brought in a striker. However, I feel like with Arteta, he brings in players, especially strikers, that are all rounders. And for me, yes, it's important to have a player who can contribute to the attacking third, but you can't sacrifice what a player can do in and around the box versus the fact that he can, hold up play, and bring other players into the game. Yes, that's important, but for me, I feel like even with Gabriel Jesus, even before he came to the club, there were question marks over his finishing. And to be fair, even though he's a great player on the wings, and he's a great player, let's say in the cam position, I don't know whether he was even at his peak. I don't know whether he was a killer in front of goal, and that's what we've been looking for. So I've said all this to say that for me, Gyökeres would be a no-brainer, and I'm hoping that Arsenal see that too and bring him into the club. Guys, much appreciated. Enjoy the compilation which is coming next, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who you picking, Gyökeres or Sesko? Take care. Peace.